Hello, everyone. Guys, today I would like to have a discussion with you. It means that I will read you short slides, and after each slide, I would like you to ask the questions about my work. Will be discussion. It's not a presentation, it's a discussion. It will be more efficient for me to understand what is good, what is not so good. The very first one is slide Hypersphere World Universe Cosmology. I changed the title of my book. Harry proposed, he suggested me to change from the previous one to this one. I greatly appreciate this title because it's much better than it was before. Let's go.
Okay, before we
Introduction.
go, does anybody have any comments? Or you think that this change to
Okay.
cosmology? I think cosmology is a broader concept. It doesn't restrict you to a model that has equations. Anybody have any comments on that?
Well, cosmology is the mother of all sciences, so if if his theory is trying to explain everything, then that makes sense.
I agree. Right.
Yeah. Harry, I greatly appreciate your title. You changed only one word, but meaning huge, huge. And I do like so much, I forgot about the previous title. Can
All
I
right.
go next? Introduction. All scientific theories are built upon axioms, hypotheses, or assumptions that must be accepted as they are. The theory then developed through logical reasoning. Hypersphere World Universe Cosmology, WC, is radically different from the prevailing Big Bang theory. The main advantage of WC is its elimination of the initial singularity and inflation, providing explanations for unresolved problems in cosmology. In 1937, Paul Dirac proposed the large number hypothesis and the hypothesis of variable gravitational constant, later incorporated the concept of continuous creation of matter in the universe. WC builds on these ideas, introducing a distinct mechanism for matter creation. Do you have any comments? Can I follow? Go.
Does the continuous creation of matter indicate a violation of the conservation of energy?
Talk about exact conservation of energy, it is correct because all the time new energy and new matter going to our world. That's why for the whole universe, no doubts, it means more and more energy you have every second.
Where does this matter creation take place?
We will talk about this matter creation later. It's created by universe.
Yeah, but where does it take place? That's the question that I'm interested in.
Let's
Because
continue because it's
if you
very
say,
difficult for me to answer. I want to follow this my procedure, and then you will find the answers on the creation in the right slide.
You're more concerned at the moment at the expression, the description of what you're going to do. Is not what you're asking us to look at, rather than the details which will follow.
Look, what you want to ask me about this slide one more time? Maybe I misunderstood the question. It seems to me that I put only some words, and I will try to explain them in the next slides.
go ahead.
What motivates the discarding the conservation of energy principle?
I will show you the next slide, and you will understand immediately what the difference is. Let me answer this one. You have only two options. One of them, Big Bang theory, all the matter, all the energy in this initial singularity, and there is nothing else. It's one kind. If you want to cut it, there is no initial singularity, there is no infinite density. You have to go with some other idea, means you created this matter continuously. Do we have another choice?
Well, it might be interesting if, all right. I have a bit of a problem with this slide because I think your last paragraph should be at the beginning, and well, maybe the second after hypersphere world cosmology is radically different from Big Bang, but the Big Bang violates conservation.
Maybe you're right. Next time, if I will be next time, I will switch them.
Well, I guess
I am trying right now to have a sense of each paragraph, what I mean, what I want to put, what I'm trying to tell you guys. This is the most important part. Harry, you're doing so good suggestions and corrections to my work that I will greatly appreciate your future corrections of this file, of these slides, and all this stuff. It will be much better. I have no doubts about it. You are a very good polisher of my work. You're clarifying so good that look, I appreciate it. Okay, let's go. Time. Let's compare WC with Big Bang theory. Let me remind you that now we are in the field of cosmology rather than in the real world. According to Big Bang theory, we live in the space-time, which is the mathematical model that fuses the three dimensions of space, x, y, z, and the one dimension of time, I, C, T, where I is the imaginary unit, C is the speed of light in vacuum, T is a cosmic time that, in accordance with Wikipedia, is the time coordinate commonly used in Big Bang theory into a single four-dimensional continuum. Do you like this imaginary four-dimensional universe? I don't. First of all, let me tell you, it's not four-dimensional. It's absolutely wrong definition. It's a four-manifold. The next one, we don't have even explanation. What does it mean, time in Big Bang theory? I don't understand the time coordinate commonly used in BBT. I don't know what does it mean. The very next one is imaginary axis, imaginary. According to Big Bang theory, we live in imaginary space-time. How do you understand this one? For me, I don't understand it. Let me continue. On the contrary, WC suggests the hypersphere, which is an example of three-manifold, which locally behaves like regular Euclidean 3D space, just as a sphere looks like a plane to small enough observer. Two-manifold surface of the Earth is a very good analogy. I will ask you to imagine that you stand on a beach of a sea and you're looking at the ship which one is going out from you. At the beginning of movement, you will see the same ship, it will go. It seems to me that the level of your sea is flat. Then it's moving further, and suddenly you will see the ship is disappearing. And the very last one, what you will see, it will be top of this ship with the flag on it. That's it. What does it mean? It means that surface of our sea is curved. Why it's curved? Because it is surface of 3D ball, our Earth, with radius about 6,400 kilometers. The same story with hypersphere. Hypersphere, the difference is only that we have three-dimensional space, but the radius of curvature of it 10 to the power 23 kilometers. Can we measure it? Can we observe it? Do you know that it exists 10 to the power 23 kilometers instead of 6,000 kilometers? No, we cannot. We cannot measure, we cannot observe, but what is important in frames of my model, I can calculate it, and you will see it later. That's why we have this space. It's a three-dimensional space because there are three-dimensional spaces, and it's so small curvature that radius of it 10 to the power 23. 23, 23 zeros after the one. It's it's impossible to imagine even. That's why let's stop on this. It's a very important issue right now. It's a three manifold because it's slightly curved, but it's a three-dimensional. And for our view, it's a three-dimensional Euclidean space. In WC, absolute cosmological time, tau, is the factor of the world, which doesn't depend on any physical phenomenon. I have a very good absolute time. I will later explain you what I mean right now. But it's two different entities. Space is separate, hypersphere, time is separate. Assumptions of WC are more physical than the assumptions of Big Bang theory. Please, your questions.
I don't understand your first point, Vladimir.
I was gonna say the same thing. The field of
rather than the
cosmology,
real
then a real world.
Me as well.
You have to explain that.
Yeah.
In a real world, we don't have imaginary time, correct? And we accept the Big Bang theory. How come? It's against common sense. It's against our logic. This is exactly my point.
Cosmology is not dealing with the real world.
Yes, Big Bang theory is not real world. On the contrary, my model with hypersphere is a standard 3D Euclidean on the sizes maybe 10 to the power 21. It will be enough already to see that it's a flat, like we have our sea level, it's flat. The same story with our space. And factor, time is a totally different factor. It's something separate. It's totally different entity.
So
It's exactly my point. My model is real world.
You are saying then that conventional cosmology does not deal in the real world. Is that your point?
No doubt about it. It's
well, then
why
perhaps you might put something like that in instead of the second sentence, because it confused Rick and me anyway.
These corrections. That's why I need today
cosmology, including what you're dealing with.
Okay, but what is important? That's why I have this discussion to do it, guys. I will correct later all this, slides. I will see your comments, your proposals, your suggestions, and believe me, I clarify everything. I switch paragraphs. I will do these corrections. That's why I asked Harry, let's have a discussion. I don't want presentation. I've done 9 presentations without any success. I want to right now discussion with you to find what is good, what is not so good for you.
Okay.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
What is the WUC?
It's my World Universe Cosmology abbreviation. It's much easier to pronounce that each time I will continue. The World Universe Cosmology, WC.
So it's the same as the world universe model.
Instead of model, it's cosmology. This is the main change Harry proposed. It's so good. I do like so much, It's only one word, but totally different meaning.
Okay.
Okay.
When you speak quickly, you say WC. It's really WUC.
I know, but WUC, it's a little bit complicated. That's why I hope you understand my WC because, I cannot go WU. And what about WU model? What's the difference?
He's Russian. You got to give him his language thing.
It's not Russian. I know letters, believe me. I live in America only for 28 years in California. That's why I know something about English. Sorry.
But
My
listen to your
accent,
accent.
no doubts about it, Russian. But I can speak with lasers, with cosmologists, with everything. Believe me. That's
Oh,
why, and it's only
I,
saving your time.
I'm not that.
WUC, it's too long. WC, it's much better. Guys, sorry, maybe let's continue because it's a very good, point, but I'm saving your time and my time to pronounce the right name title of my work. The
Yeah.
World Universe Cosmology.
Stop
Harry,
beat.
you see
Stop.
how all people likes your cosmology. It's one
Stop.
word only, but totally different meaning.
Hey, Vlad. I'm going to tell everybody to stop beating up on your accent.
You
Okay.
know, I bet you if you will go to Russia and you will start speaking Russian, I will see immediately that you are from America. I'm so sorry. And
He's from
you can
Canada.
speak
No doubt.
clear, perfect English if you were born in here. Unfortunately, I was born in Romania, not even in Russia. That's why, guys, let's
You're doing a
continue.
pretty good
Let's talk
job, I can
about
say.
cosmology, not about accent.
You're doing fairly well. You're doing very well.
I'm trying to do my best.
All right.
Let's go.
I-
Okay, sorry.
All right. Go ahead. Go
Okay.
ahead. Move on.
Initial
now-
conditions. Big Bang Theory proposes the initial singularity with all matter of universe inside of it, with infinite energy density and extremely rapid expansion of space-time inflation, beginning at T0. What was before T0? Where is the center of expansion in the universe? Can you answer this question? I cannot. I don't know. WC, World Universe Cosmology, suggests a fluctuation in the eternal universe that created a 4D nucleus of the world with an extrapolated radius equal to a basic size unit of A. I will show you the number later. The nucleus had a finite extrapolated energy density about 10,000 times less than nuclear density and expands in its fourth spatial dimension at the speed c, a gravitodynamic constant, resulting in the even stretching of the nucleus surface, which is the hypersphere world. There is no need in dark energy. There is stretching instead of dark energy. Principal point, all matter of universe is at the beginning, T0, Big Bang theory, or it is continuously creating in the world, universe, cosmology. Do you have questions to this slide?
If you'll excuse, again, a slight pedantry of mine, just to make it a bit clearer, you don't really have a definite article in Russian, I understand. So one of the things we notice is sometimes you put in a definite article when it shouldn't be there, and you leave it out when it should be there. I'd prefer to say in the first, proposes the initial singularity with all matter of the universe. And then in the last point, all matter of the universe. Otherwise, it sounds very unusual.
It's only to cut down a little bit the length of this equation, these sentences, and that's it. You're absolutely right. And all my, work, it's always the universe, believe me, because I have so much respect to universe. Universe has only two features. First of all, it's eternal. The second one, creator. That's it. I'm not asking from creator something.
Vlad,
because there is no, yes?
WUC, the second paragraph.
Yes.
Nucleus of the world, you might want to change that to universe.
No, because surface of this nucleus, it's our world. Our world doesn't exist without
How would you
nucleus.
define the world?
Everybody defines the world as the planet that we live on, and the universe is the area that the planet resides in.
You're absolutely right, but it's absolutely wrong. I will tell you why. Because I neglected,
I'm just saying
I stopped talking about Big Bang Theory at all. Even the definitions must be totally different.
I'm just saying it's confusing to people when you use the world
Okay, please.
word instead of universe.
It's not confusing, as I told you from the very beginning. Each theory, it is some beginning, axioms, something, assumptions and all this stuff. Please accept my definitions, and then forget about everything what you knew before. This is my point.
Well, my point is that, when you use the word world, you're talking about the planet Earth.
That is
Earlier,
indeed
by whom?
common.
By me or by whom?
By
Well,
everybody.
that is everybody
Everybody,
today, but
including you
actually,
all.
the older use, Vladimir, in a way, is using an antiquated form because actually, in hundreds of years ago, world was used for what we would consider universe, but it does sound very strange nowadays.
Yes.
It might seem more understandable if the word universe were used instead.
But then it'd be universe, UUC.
Yeah,
Well,
you could
well,
use world universe.
at least clarify the meaning of world, just so people will know.
I explained you in the previous, I'm sorry, in a
All right.
previous space and
Yeah, but
time.
I'm
I
I'm
explained you what does it mean world in my, oh my goodness, in my,
yes. I
Well,
okay.
we understand that, Vlad, but not everybody's going to pick up on that, and it's going to be confusing to people that just pick up the paper and start reading it, that have
Okay.
no background on in these conversations. So just change it to
uh,
world universe, world
I,
dash universe.
I have a question.
Yes,
Um,
guys, I have two entities. One of them world we live in, and another one universe creator. How you can switch from creator universe to our world? We live in a real world. We don't know anything about creator. Do you know something about God? No. That's why what you're asking me right now to do, I have two entities. I cannot replace one by one. No, it's two different entities. World we live in, and I explained to you, it's a hypersphere, and creator, an eternal universe, the eternal universe, it's a creator. That's it. That's it. There is no other way because I need some creator in my work, and I cannot go without universe. If you want to propose me instead of universe God, then I can tell you my work will be not world universe cosmology. It will be universe God cosmology. Do you like it?
why does the word universe imply creator, though? Because many people who don't believe in God know the universe exists and it has its own special
Give you the
meaning.
example how I can change. I need two entities, world and universe. I cannot go further without two entities. If you have any other proposal, I have a proposal to you. You want to name our world you live in and I live in universe, then put some new word for creator. It might be, I will tell you, there are some,
All
I
right.
thought about it.
I
Universal
understand. I
mind.
understand what you're saying. You're saying that there are really two concepts here. Is there's the universe that we live in, which is what you're calling the real world, but then there's this mathematical idealization that is creating the real world.
No,
As I understand what you're saying.
no, it's not a mathematical. Creator has no space, has no time. There is no
All
any
right.
physical
Okay.
laws. You cannot ask about the mechanism of creation. Creator, like a God. It's not God. I don't
I,
believe in God. My personal
I
belief.
think you have a different definition of universe than most people, though, possibly.
You're absolutely right. And I told you from the very beginning, guys, we are in the field of cosmology right now. You used to theory, forget about it. It's a bullshit.
All right.
Imaginary world, and you have your universe in an imaginary world. I can't believe it. Time. What is the time in their model? I don't know.
I
I
have a question about the 4D nucleus. That I mean, what are the mechanics of how that works? Does it emanate from particles that synthesize and create objects or atoms and
Let
molecules and
me
such?
continue, and you will see how it works.
Okay.
Yeah, you have a very good question, but it will be a little bit later in my slides.
Okay.
Let's continue because You're absolutely right. It's universe is confusing our orthodoxies. And if you're orthodox, I'm very sorry, man. Or you want to switch to a new cosmology, please follow my definition. To each word, to each entity, I gave a very good definition. Follow my definition and follow my logic. Remember, I told you guys, any theory from assumptions, words, and then and I'm sorry. Ah, okay, good. And then, follow logic only. Logic, what I'm asking from you.
Well, I think one problem that people may have is that you haven't provided a motivation or justification for your new WUC assumptions. For example, you haven't described a logic or a motivation or reason why you would reject a cosmology in which there is conservation of energy. Or
there's no such cosmology.
Conservation of
Jim.
energy, how many times will
There's
repeat
no
the same?
such cosmology.
Excuse me,
Let
what?
me repeat one more time.
Hold on. Let me clarify this for Jim. There is no cosmology where the conservation of energy applies. But that just doesn't exist in cosmology. There's no cosmology that has that, because cosmology is an attempt to explain where these things come from. So you can't conserve them if you can't explain where they come from. You understand what I'm saying?
Not
I believe
really.
I believe that's a
How does something
that-
come from nothing though? How is something created just
Well,
out of nowhere?
hold on. The Big Bang model just says there's a miracle and everything appears. That's a violation of the rule. Okay, that's their cosmology. They have a miracle at the beginning. Okay?
Conservation of energy is a physics term, not a cosmology term.
Let me tell you, let me clarify this energy conservation. It works for closed system. You can tell it. Jamie, it's exactly for you. If you have practically infinite universe, what kind of conservation of energy you mean? Let me ask you the question. I will ask you now, because it must be closed system. For closed system, it is energy conservation. There is no closed system, forget about it. Do you understand it?
I think what you're saying is that it is not possible to define a cosmology in which energy is conserved and 3D Euclidean space is satisfactory. I think that's what you're saying. But
3D
I
Euclidean is correct,
find any
but there is no
motivation or
closed
rationale
system.
for that.
There is
To
no
support
this
that.
energy conservation at all. You cannot put this law if you don't have a closed system. Sorry.
Well, I think that's an arbitrary statement.
I don't know
What
basic of
motivation
physics. I am
do you
very
have
sorry.
to
I'm very
reject
sorry. Please go
such a
to
basic
any book
principle of
and
physics?
find it. Oh my goodness. You closed system, energy conservation. I'm very sorry. How we can proceed?
Well, I
actually,
guess we proceed without logic. Okay, go right
actually,
ahead.
you can't proceed unless, basically you can't talk about cosmology if you want to say that the energy and matter have to be conserved. If you have a you don't have a cosmology.
Would you say
Why
that?
not?
Would you say that?
Why would you not have a cosmology?
Because you have to have some kind of assumption about how these things are come into being.
Would you say? Would you say it was
physics?
Would you say it was that a beginning that the conservation of energy is violated, or would you say
a cosmology doesn't necessarily have to answer all possible questions. I think that's a false premise that you're floating here. In other words,
false premise, Jim?
Well, that
there is an evidence of the spontaneous creation of matter. There is an evidence that things arise from nothing, or even something when something creating additional parts that weren't
Well,
there
if you
before.
if you go by what Jim's saying, then you can't have cosmology. You might as well just, you know, you don't have cosmology. You have physics, and you can't explain anything really. You ought to just not even have cosmology because you've got a physical law that says you can't have cosmology.
So cosmology implies that the spontaneous creation of matter and energy is inevitable. Does it occur continuously even right now or just at the beginning?
Well, those are the two
Yes,
options.
it's an ongoing process. If Halton, then those quasars then in turn into full-fledged galaxies themselves. Where is that matter coming from? I believe that it's coming from the internal plasmoid / black hole at the center of every galaxy that is creating matter from the ether due to the Z-pinch effect of the magnetism
Let's talk about
pinching.
my cosmology. Your
Well, that's
electrical
what
cosmology we
I'm
heard so
answering.
many times, it's enough.
I'm answering Jerry's question.
You're not answering. You're talking about your model. That's
It's
it.
not my it's
Let
not my
me ask you
model, but
only one
anyway.
question, guys. Sorry, it's my discussion. Sorry, Jim. You are talking about conservation of energy. Let me ask you the question. At T0, we have all the energy inside of this initial singularity. Let me ask you, where from?
It seems that
No, I'm asking Jim, not you, Jerry.
just
Well,
let me
I
say
don't
just let me
believe
say
in
really quickly.
an initial singularity. Sorry.
Ah, that's a good out.
What you told? I'm sorry.
So the real issue, I think the issue here, Vladimir, is you need to put your presentation back up. But I think the real issue is that the real issue is that there are two
It's
choices.
not turned on. Please turn it on.
Oh,
Sherry,
I'm sorry.
sorry.
I'm sorry.
No sorries. Please do it, and I will do it. My job.
See,
Okay.
what it seems you want is a cosmology that violates what we know about physics.
No,
A-
wrong.
a-
No,
a- any
wrong. 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 How does it do that?
How does what do
Repeat
that?
my
How
slides.
does it violate what we know about physics?
Well, if there's a violation of the law of conservation of energy, I think you
Yeah,
need
but
some
that's what
justification for that.
cosmology does. That's what the Big Bang assumes. It violates the law of conservation of energy. So how does that? They
I
just
don't believe in the
ignore
Big
that.
Bang. I don't think the Big Bang ever occurred. I don't even know why we're even talking about the Big Bang, frankly,
Right. Okay.
because
Well,
it's a
But where is energy
because
from?
you're making an assumption.
theory.
You're making an
So what
assumption.
you want to do is talk about failed theories. Why don't we talk about theories that have a chance to be successful?
Well, Vlad's just comparing that his theory to the Big Bang theory, that's all.
And that's it, guys. Let's stay inside of these two. All the other cosmologists, I do like them very much, but it's a different story, different discussions even. Let's be in frames of my discussion right now. Big Bang theory and what I propose. That's it. Aye.
Can you bring your presentation back? We
It's
don't have it.
exactly my I'm trying to do right now,
Okay.
guys. Hopefully, I will do it right now. Share. It's gone. It's good. Thank you very much. Okay, that's why let's continue because we passed already a few of them. We have 20 of them. That's why let's use
I don't
all these
see it.
2 hours.
I'm sorry, I don't see it here.
But I put it and I can see it.
I see it.
I
It'll
see
come
it.
it'll pop up for you in a second, Harry.
Yes, it's good. I can see it. I can see all of you as it was before and my slides too. Oh, it's a very good discussion, guys. I do like very much. You know, it's very difficult from
All
orthodoxy
right,
to
I
switch
got
to
it.
something new. I know how it's difficult. Believe me, I work on this work for 24 years. That's why I used to it. But it took me only 24 years to develop it.
You got some major lag, Harry, and Jerry too.
Okay, guys, Can I continue? Principal point, I want to repeat it. All matter of universe in at the beginning, the problem of T0, what was before, and or it is continuously creating in the world. What is it in my world, universe, cosmology?
Why
Let's
do you
continue.
assume that there is a T0?
I don't have. I will let me continue. You will see it. I have no this problem at all. Let's continue because I cannot tell you everything around one slide. I have 20 of them, but short one. You see, it's a short one. Structure of the world. Big Bang theory assumes an almost infinite homogeneous and isotropic universe around the initial singularity. Do you understand it? I don't. WC describes a finite, boundless world, the hypersphere of the nucleus, as a patchwork quilt of various main luminous superclusters in the cosmic medium, which emerged in different regions of the world at different cosmological times. You see, I gave you what does it mean, world? We have cosmic medium, and inside of cosmic mediums, we have a patchwork quilt of superclusters. I will talk about this one later, but now it's only statement. What the difference is between Big Bang theory and my cosmology. Can I continue? Do you have any questions to this slide? Okay. Cosmic medium. You see, there was a lot of questions about medium. I put it medium, and so on. And of course, I named it wrong. Medium means nothing. Like cosmology, Harry, he added to my title. I put right now cosmic medium because we have cosmic microwave background radiation, part of the cosmic medium. That's why this medium right now has an official title, cosmic medium. WC proposes that the world's cosmic medium consists of protons, electrons, photons, neutrinos, and universe-created particles, previously referred to as dark matter particles. Cosmic medium is homogeneous and isotropic, while the distribution of macro objects is spatially inhomogeneous, anisotropic, and temporally non-simultaneous. This is exactly the definition of my world. You ask me what the content of it, who is the participants of the world, you can, in this paragraph, you can find it. The rejection of the luminiferous ether by special relativity in 1905 was a critical moment. It was a killer, usually, really, for classical physics. However, cosmic medium proposed by WC could be considered a revival of this concept, acting as a savior for classical physics. That's why, please, now instead of medium, have in your mind cosmic medium, cosmic medium. Okay, do you have any questions? I can continue.
Yeah. As far as the cosmic medium goes, you said that it consists of protons, electrons, photons, and such. If there is a cosmic medium, why wouldn't those exist within the medium instead of compose the medium?
You know, the most important part. Medium, it might be vacuum, there is nothing. Or it should be some particles inside of this medium. In our air, we have the molecules, oxygen, hydrogen, all this stuff. In my cosmic medium, it's a real medium like ether. Ether, there is some stuff in it. That's why I have these particles as a stuff of this cosmic medium. Can I continue?
Yeah.
I think this slide
Okay.
only is confusing people. Move on.
What?
I'm interested.
It's confusing. Okay, what's confusing?
It just, I think it's just going to confuse people and it's a distraction.
The idea is,
For me, the most important, understanding what I'm talking. If there is some confusion on this, slide, Harry, we will talk with you about these confusions later in our discussions by letters, by email, and all this stuff.
Well, I guess my point is that it's not really clear how this fits into the scheme. It just seems like you're just saying this is there, and it's not really connected into what the cosmology is about. And so,
You know, maybe you're right. You're right. Maybe, but I will talk about this stuff of in my cosmic medium later. I will show you when it will be creation. Then I will tell you where it's coming from. What is the percentage wise the
right.
energy density in it? You
Well,
know, I cannot tell everything at once.
this goes to my point, which I think you need some diagrams that sort of try to explain these concepts. I think visual diagrams would be more helpful than words. And you don't really have any diagrams. And
Any
charts
diagrams?
or flow,
But
things that
yes,
illustrate how the ideas connect together. I think this would help this idea of how the medium relates to the
I think you're
hypersphere.
I think you're correct, Harry. I think that would be a big help in trying to understand the cosmology that he's presenting.
yes, guys. But you have right now chance to ask me all the questions after each slide.
All right,
That's why
let's
I
move on.
appreciate all your comments. If I need these diagrams, I will do it in the future. My main goal right now, it will be understandable. You will ask me the questions and I can answer them. That's it.
Your
It's the
your
main goal of my discussion today.
your cosmic medium sounds sorry, your cosmic medium sounds an awful lot like plasma, which is 99% of the universe.
Think about your plasma. There is no 99% of plasma. Where you took this number? I'm very sorry, 99%. Where
Everything
your
we
plasma
see,
came from?
everything we
And
see,
please
all the
stop about
clouds.
your plasma. Let's continue my
I'm
cosmology
just
and Big Bang
saying,
theory
I'm
only.
just saying, plasma
You can
is
say it.
electrons, protons, neutrons, neutrinos, all of
There is
that.
no, oh my
Well,
goodness. How
Vladimir,
to stop you?
What would you say exists within the cosmic medium? Because protons, electrons, photons, and such that would seem they would exist within the medium instead of compose the medium.
They are the
Maybe
medium, I think,
you
too.
understand, okay, in the medium. But medium, then what does it mean, medium?
What's the point of a medium if what composes it is
Guys,
within it?
let me tell you the most important part. We have ether. What does it mean, ether? Do you have any idea? What does it mean, ether?
There are many
What
different
is it?
conceptions.
There are many theories of what the ether is.
Well, we don't know. So that's why I think this is a problematical slide. But anyway, let's move on.
Well,
But just one point, if I
one-
may, on the cosmic medium. I don't know if this is exhaustive, where it says it consists of. I know we're arguing about protons, electrons, photons. You didn't say neutrons, neutrinos, and a universe
What
created.
it
So perhaps
consists
it
of.
should say consists of the usual subatomic particles and universal created particles, because it would appear that what you've given an exhaustive list there.
You mean right now ether or my work?
Your thing, the way you in second
Okay,
bullet,
okay.
you
Because
describe.
ether, nobody knows. What is my advantage against ether? I propose composition of it. Instead of ether, it's like a god. We don't know anything about it. I told ether consists of, and that's it. This is cosmic medium. Nobody before, instead of ether, put something real. Ether, I don't know, it's a perfect liquid or what it is. I don't know.
I tend to agree with you on this point, Vlad, that the ether consists of the electrons, protons, neutrons, all the quasi particles,
Forget it. In your
as
plasma
well as
theory, I know
as
it.
well as as well
Don't
as
repeat the
all
1,000 times the same story, sir. I'm very
Well,
have a respect to my model.
Vladimir, would you say that the cosmic medium, that the universe is the same thing as the cosmic medium? Because a medium typically means such as air,
Like an air, like an air. It's a very good comparison. In we live right now with you, we breathe with air. Air consists of molecules. My cosmic medium consists of particles. I named them right now.
would you say the universe is the cosmic medium, or that anything exists at all within the
No,
medium?
no, not universe. It's the world consists
Okay, the
of the
world.
medium, cosmic medium, and inside of this cosmic medium, we have all macro objects, superclusters, galaxies, and all this stuff.
Well, protons and electrons compose macro objects.
Let me continue and you will see it. Yes.
Okay.
Maybe it's too early. I named already the content because it was like, give some ideas and then I will give you some details of these ideas.
Okay.
Guys,
Did you
it's
get
only
my
the
point?
beginning of the story.
Did you get my point? Where you list what it consists of. If you give a list, it would imply that that list is exhaustive. There may be other subatomic particles, like neutrons you haven't included there.
I don't have neutron.
You say it consists of protons, electrons, photons, neutrinos. That's
Yes.
it. And
Yeah, that's it. What I told you, that's it. There are ordinary matter and there is universe created matter. I will tell you later what the difference is, how it's going, how it was created, and all this stuff. But what is important, that's it. In a real world, we have only these particles.
Ordinary material surely has neutrons in it, for example, which you haven't listed there.
Neutrons with lifetime 8 minus does not exist in cosmology.
I'm very
sorry.
Some say neutrons consist of protons and electrons.
I know, but it exists only for 8 minus. We have cosmology 14.22 billion years. We cannot talk about neutrons at all.
Yeah, some people say neutrinos don't exist.
So I'm just a little worried that's part of my cosmic medium. Yes. And I am ready and all this stuff is based on experimental results, guys. It's not something out this blue sky. It's from experiments.
So your cosmology,
if you want some details, I will give you later. But let's continue.
Harry, don't forget to give us a time check.
Can I continue, guys?
We're good for another few minutes.
Well, it looks like we're also rejecting the periodic table.
No, man, I'm not talking about periodic table.
Well, helium contains neutrons, my friend.
When I will talk about nucleosynthesis of all elements, including table, you will see where it's coming from. Please, let's continue, guys. You're asking all these good questions, but it's a little bit early in my discussion.
Well, I'm getting the impression that the standard answer is, please wait, we'll answer the question later. We can't answer it now. That, in other words, you want to build a cosmology based upon non-falsifiable propositions.
Let me answer your question. Very simple. Periodical table does exist. All the elements of these periodical tables are created inside of all macro objects in their universe created matter inside of each of them. Nuclear synthesis, all of this matter, all these periodical table elements composed, created inside of the earth, inside of the sun, inside of the moon, inside of all inside. That's it. Don't worry.
So this is the problem that people have. Within a space of just a few minutes, we have two opposite answers to the same question about neutrons. So they don't exist, or they're not important. And oh yes, they do exist. They're in the periodic table.
I will try to answer all the questions, and that it will be future detailed. But I answered your question. All the elements of periodical table composed, created inside of the macro object as the result of their evolution. It's enough for you now, because then it will be some details. Okay. Next slide. Conservation laws. Conservation laws, one of the most important. Big Bang Theory does not explicitly emphasize the creation and conservation of angular momentum in its foundational principles. There is no such name. WC stands out as the only theory that provides a mechanism for angular momentum creation and is consistent with the fundamental law of its conservation. Do you have any questions? Because about this, and angular momentum, we talked so many times. It's like pollution in all the theories before, and it only in my theory there is an explanation where it came from and what is the means conservation of it. Can I continue, guys? If you have any questions, I can continue.
Well,
I think this should just be angular momentum conservation law, because when you say laws, it sounds like you're going to talk about lots of laws. But
Okay, you're right. You're right. You're right. I will do it. Conservation law, because all of them, it's a different story, but this is the most important. I told in my words, but it's a wrong law. It should be law. You're absolutely right, Harry.
Well,
It's
I think
a
the point
mistake.
is that the main point that you're addressing is angular momentum conservation. You're not really addressing other conservation laws in this
Yes,
slide.
you're absolutely right. But what is
And I know
important,
you've
I
stressed
thought,
this in the past, but so I just ask, and I hope it's not silly, but do you also conceive of conservation of linear momentum?
sorry, linear momentum.
Yeah, because you've been talking about angular momentum, or is that a special case? Um,
No, linear momentum, let me tell you, all the particles, they have four momentum, including linear momentum. Yes, it exists.
four momentum? Did you say four momentum?
Yes, in quantum physics, a part of it, particles, they have only four momenta, energy and linear momentum. Yes, of course, I agree with it. It's main part of my, work.
What is the four?
Yes, yes.
What is the
All the
four?
particles, they have four momenta, and there is a conservation of four momenta, energy and linear momentum. Yes.
So you're a special relativity advocate here?
No, special relativity doesn't exist. Forget it.
Well, where does this four
Because,
momentum come from?
Where does what?
Four momenta that he just talked about. Where does that come from?
Well, I'm not sure. Okay, let's move to the next slide.
yes, let's move to the other slide. Macro object formation. Big Bang Theory. Macro objects form from the bottom, extrasolar system, up to galaxies and superclusters. In WC, macro objects form from the top, superclusters, down to galaxies and extrasolar systems due to an explosive volcanic rotational fission of superclusters of a spinning cores made up of UC particles, which were created by the universe during the dark invisible epoch. The formation of galaxies and extrasolar systems is not a process that concluded ages ago. Instead, it is ongoing.
So this is
Your
basically
question.
the essence of your whole thesis right here. And
Yes.
And we're down to slide number 7. So there's a lot of issues here. One is the word bottom up, from the bottom, Big Bang Theory from the bottom, WUC from the top. This really needs a diagram. And I kind of understand
Yes.
what you're trying to say, but I think a lot of people aren't going to just
or maybe just more elaboration, because I was confused with that as well.
well, in the Big Bang Theory, after the Big Bang, then everything is a bunch of gas, and that gas is supposed to condense into some kind of objects. And it's not really clear. This seems to be a big problem in that the galaxies swallow up other galaxies. So I guess stars are created and then they get pulled in to form galaxies. And then the galaxies get sucked into other galaxies and they get bigger and bigger. And then what they see on the telescope are these quasars and compact galaxy objects, which can only form through the mergers of proto-galaxies. Okay, and I think what he means by bottom up is this process of building up in scale, because the smaller guys swallow up each other and become bigger, and they swallow up other things and become bigger, and they swallow up other things and become bigger. Is that what you mean by bottom up?
Yes, yes. So you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Okay, that's kind of, I'm not really sure whether the term bottom up is actually going to.
You explain, I put external solar systems first of all, then galaxies, then superclusters. In my cosmology, vice versa. First of all, you have your supercluster, and then you're splitting all the galaxies around, and galaxies splitting their stars around. Like a firework. I will tell you this, about the creation a little bit later. But you're absolutely right. You gave the right definition. What does it mean, bottom up and up to bottom, vice versa?
Okay, so yeah, this needs to be. All right, that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're absolutely right, as usual.
The
Let's continue.
explosive volcanic rotation fission, as I understand it, actually involves transfer of energy from angular momentum to linear momentum, which means that we violate the conservation of angular momentum, which is upheld in your previous slide, which implies a lack of logic in the presentation.
Thank you very much for understanding of my logic.
I'm not sure I understood that, Jim.
Doesn't explosive volcanic
sorry.
rotation fission involve the creation of movement of items in a linear momentum scenario?
Well, if I were to accept what you're saying, then this whole theory of centrifugal force and the explanation of how rockets and satellites revolve around planets doesn't make any sense. I'm not sure I don't understand what you're saying.
Well, I'm just saying that does this expression, explosive volcanic rotational fission, involve something being ejected from a rotating object?
Yes, but it's rotated into a circular orbit, not a linear orbit, linear path.
Well, but it had so there is some component of linear momentum in the formation in the ejection of this material.
Well, that's implied by the word ejection, yes.
Great. So what we're talking about then is that we don't really have 100% conservation of angular momentum, that some of that gets transferred to linear momentum in this process that you just said yes to.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, I thought the explosive
guys.
volcanic rotational fission came from rotating objects.
Yes.
Angular momentum. Isn't that what that phrase refers to?
Angular momentum. Then you will transfer to satellites, orbital angular momentum, and rotational angular momentum. You miss two words. There is orbital and there is rotational. Planet, our Earth, is rotating orbital momentum around the sun, and internal rotational angular momentum, it's a rotation of our Earth. It's simple like this.
So in order to get to orbit, you need some linear momentum, correct?
And
When Elon Musk launches a rocket, he's creating a whole
Yes.
bunch of linear momentum to get something into orbit. So
I-
you're denying that there's linear momentum in this process that you call
he never said there was no linear momentum. Where did he ever say that?
Well, he said that conservation of energy of angular momentum is a law which is not violated.
That's not really what he
That's
said.
in the previous slide. Well,
No,
it's
that's not
Go
what
back
he
to the
said.
previous slide.
You're misunderstanding what he's saying. That seems to me to be you're not, which I guess is more an issue of Vladimir's not explaining it correctly. What he's saying is that in the Big Bang cosmology, you can't explain the problem of angular momentum because there's no angular momentum created in the Big Bang. The Big Bang creates no angular momentum.
I have a question. How are the superclusters formed originally for there to be an explosion of volcanic rotation fission? I mean, how do they coalesce?
It will be next slide. Next slide.
All right, we got a few minutes to go here. All right, keep going. Next slide, 8 minutes.
Hypersphere, world, universe, cosmology. Assumptions. World is a finite, boundless hypersphere of a 4D nucleus of the world that is expanding along the fourth spatial dimension of the nucleus with speed equals to a gravitodynamic constant c. Eternal universe is the creator of universe-created matter, which is continuously created in the nucleus. Ordinary matter is a byproduct of particle self-annihilation. Two fundamental parameters in various rational exponents define all macro and micro features of the world. Dimensionless Rydberg constant alpha, that is named the fine structure constant now, R infinity is the Rydberg constant, and time varying quantity Q, that is in fact the Dirac's large number. I stress that the best theory is the one which is based on minimum dimensionless parameters. My cosmology based on two parameters only. When you have some constant numbers, constant definitions, and all these notions, you can use alpha only. If you have some variable parameters or something connected to the time, then you have to use the other dimensionless parameter Q. That's it. In my cosmology, there are only two parameters. One of them, alpha, is in conjunction with universe, with creator. The other one, Q, is in conjunction with our world, because our creator, our universe doesn't change. It's eternal. That's why it must be constant from universe. And our world changes in time. That's why you must use this different dimensionless time varying parameter Q. Do you have any questions about two parameters of my cosmology?
As far as the 4D nucleus goes, I mistakenly thought you meant with the addition of time, though. How to account for the extra dimension in addition to the three-dimensional objects?
Well, he explained that earlier when he was talking about the surface of the Earth and the ship on the surface of the ocean.
I don't know if that explains it, though. I mean,
but the 3D is embedded. The 3D world we live in is embedded in a 4-dimensional space. So we live in a 3D. I forget, what is the hypersphere?
No,
Is the
three-dimensional space. No. No.
Would you
It's
say
a three-dimensional space, and it has curved curves, radius of curves in fourth
Would,
dimension.
would
It's
you
only
say
radius of curve.
would you say
All
that would you say the fourth dimension of space is the last dimension? Is there a fifth or I mean
There's no
how do we account
four-dimensional
for the
space,
fourth?
guys. Where you took it from? I have three-dimensional space.
All right.
Time is a
Okay.
factor,
Okay.
different
Okay.
story.
Okay. Please. It's not clear what hypersphere means. That's really the you have this the world is a finite boundless hypersphere of a 4D nucleus of the world. That's just the
Can I throw a simple explanation in there, Vladimir? He's looking at the universe in terms of it being spherical, and inside the universe we have height, width, and dimension, and on the outside of the universe there's a sphere, and that's what he's measuring it. I think that's correct, right, Vlad?
No, let me come back to the slide number 2. Okay. On the contrary, WC suggests that hypersphere, which is an example of three-manifold, which locally behaves like regular Euclidean 3D space, just, just as a sphere looks like a plane, and I explained you with ship, to small enough observers. And if you have your ship not so far away from you, it seems to you that C is a flat. But then further it goes, in comparison with the radius of curvature of this sphere, radius of the Earth, then you can see it disappears. The same story with 3D space, 3D world. We have close to us, it's 3D Euclidean. But as I told you, radius of curvature of this space, it is 10 to the power 23 kilometers. Can
okay,
we
but
imagine
you've
this
said
number?
all this. You've said all this before. What the confusion
Yes, I'm
is,
trying to
but
repeat one more
you
time.
have a three-dimensional space embedded in a four-dimensional manifold, basically.
In three manifold. Four manifold is Big Bang theory. It's a three manifold by definition. If you will go to Wikipedia to any place, you will see that hypersphere is an example of three manifold.
All
It's
right. So
not
the
four.
And
three
the most important,
manifold, the
with the
three
most
manifold is embedded in a four-dimensional space.
Three manifold, it's a hypersphere of the four-dimensional ball. Yes, it's not embedded. It's a surface of four-dimensional ball.
and there's
Well,
no motivation for adding the hypersphere. It's just something you pull out of the blue.
You know, I have to go maybe to the last slide, and I will give you all the motivation why I put hypersphere.
That is not a satisfactory answer, never in a scientific discussion, that I have to go to another slide. It means that you don't know the answer. That's what it means.
You know,
If you can't give a justification for adding the hypersphere to 3D space now, what credibility do you have on anything that you're saying about cosmology? What credibility?
Please stop talking. Listen to me. Hypersphere world.
all right, we're going to
We
end here.
introduced the concept of the hypersphere world to address the absence of a center of expansion in a 3D universe associated with initial singularity.
But you
In
add another
principle-
center. The hypersphere has a center. So it's like, what's better about the center that you're proposing compared to the one that the theory that you don't like, the Wicked Witch?
Can you listen at least one more sentence? Please have a respect to me. Jim, I'm tired of all your interruptions.
All right,
Please
let's,
have a
I
respect,
thought you were
at least.
asking for comments.
well, all right, let's,
So you're really not asking for comments. Okay.
all right, let's,
Can I repeat this hypersphere world for you personally? You told me that I don't have an answer, and I have a special slide in conjunction with this hypersphere world. Please, please listen to me. And then your comments. I told you, you can ask me questions after each slide. And you don't want to listen even to one slide. How come?
Well,
Who are you
the
talking
answer-
to? Who are you talking to, Vlad?
All right, let's, I think the
Please, you
issue,
talking. I have no chance to talk about it because most of the time you take for your